Thank you. Okay, we will call the meeting to order. We're meeting in regular session, August 24th, 2026. All board members are present. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Okay, the agenda is approved and recognitions are next.
Ms. Goodrich, do you want to take the lead? Sure. Yeah.
All right, so we have several here tonight, so thank you guys so much for coming out. We have got a lot to celebrate at Second Street. Later, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a presentation, and you all are included in that as well. The first is going to be to Ms. Peach and supporting the staff at Second Street with instructional practices.
We're trying to get up her picture.
Next, we have two students who are caught reading, and the first one is Emerson Hendricks.
Oh, Emmy, come up, come stand up here.
Hold it open so you can see it.
Oh, so good.
You got it?
We'll move on.
Stand right here. And we'll take a big picture in just a minute.
And our next one is Jason Heather. So every week, me and Miss Peach go about the building and we look for students who are reading. Right here. Tristan. Turn this the other way. There you go. Good job.
Here, Tristan.
All right, we have a very special award
Miss
for
Goodrich,
Miss
do you care
Chloe.
to grab a picture real quick?
Yeah, that's
with
fine.
these? Look this way. Look at Mr. Jones right there with the phone.
Are we standing up here or are we gonna?
Stand.
But it is not just the face, so we see the good.
Count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Our next award is for Chloe Thompson in honor of completing her very first cross-country race for Second Street. Good job.
Good job, Chloe.
I got these multiple.
We have our amazing preschool crew here and they scored a 4-star rating. So we wanted to make sure that we celebrated them. We have Miss Kendra Fire.
Miss Choir, you have to come this way for that.
Miss Hill.
You too, Miss Hill.
Miss Monday. Miss Howard. Miss Barber. Miss Pearl. And Miss Moore. And that rating is extremely hard to get, so we are super proud of our team.
Okay, on count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Chair.
Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. You're welcome to stay, but you may leave if you need to.
I'm making a plane and I guess I'm.
Make sure you show mom and dad lots of hunting trips. Okay.
Okay, no one has asked to address the board tonight. So our next agenda item is reports. You've received the personnel report. Next is the orders of the treasurer.
You see that the total of this orders is a little over $400,000. $267,000 of that was a bond payment, a final bond payment, right, Mr. Rupert, on the Frankfurt High School cafeteria project. So we are done with that project. You see our Red Book training on page 2 that we did. We had all administrators as well as finance staff, coaches, and sponsors. We did that through CKEC this year. Mr. Morris is a former finance officer, former principal, so he has seen all facets of school and district finance. And you also see on that page, our tax collection fees are 1.5% required payment to the city of Frankfurt. Page 3. So you see a first-time, long-time reimbursement on this page. And some of my notes about custodial supplies and some of the work we're doing to pare that down and possibly get to less vendors. Page 4, some Open SciEd kits there. Those are the science kits that go with Open SciEd, which is our science curriculum K-12. They were reimbursed from the Education Foundation. The PBIS reward system for Second Street that they use for positive behavior intervention point tracking. We are hoping to get that reimbursed by the Education Foundation as well, but it came from their Section 6 funds, if not. I'm sure you saw that both of our schools are up for the best school in Franklin County and the Frankfurt area in the Frankfurt Faves competition. I'm not sure if that's happened recently, so kudos to us for being nominated, both schools. It's kind of, I wish they'd separate it into grade span levels so that we weren't competing against each other. But let's see. And then on the last page, Logan, if you want to explain that last page, I don't know if I did a really great job of explaining it in my notes.
It's just an issue of Munis where we were trying to pay multiple warrants on the same day, that it has an issue and creates a separate warrant number. This has happened a couple times over the, just search that warrant number. It has years worth of stuff. So the highlighted things are the things that were on our credit card statement this month. But there are things on this, just this one page that are all the way back to 2021. But just wanted you all to see the credit card statement on that page.
And a lot of those credit card purchases were for Miss White's summer conference that she goes to. I had to ask about that SFNA gas because SFNA triggers South Frankfurt Neighborhood Association in my brain, but it's her school food nutrition, the gas that she used to go, and her hotel reservations on there. We also, you see the $39.50 for the bus transfer for our new bus, and our new employee orientation breakfast is there. And some golf uniforms for the boys golf team. Those were purchased. They had to use a credit card to purchase them, but they came out of their activity fund.
Okay, are there any questions? Comments?
On page 4, there's core technologies, digital signage for FHS. Yes. Something. It's cut off.
Yeah, on core technologies, digital signage for FHS.
Yeah, that is our digital signs. We walk into the entrance at Frankfurt High, 2 monitors that go on the wall there.
Okay.
Just to announcements and such.
It cut off, so all we have is FR. Are we still working on our technology list?
Yes, Mr. Jones put together the technology list for FY26, and I've sent him a message today because some of the things on FY26 we didn't renew this school year. So I wanted to give you a FY 26 and a current school year list.
Well, I had a question about the, on page 5, the second to last train invoice. I think the room is cut off on that. It says general maintenance room.
$114.
633.75.
One.
114 is, that's downstairs second grade. 114, yeah, it was not working the day before school started, so we had a tech come out, look at 114 and 104. And got those fixed.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, is there a motion to approve the orders for the treasurer?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. The orders are approved. And next is the treasurer's report.
So we have the report for July 2026 in front of you. Between June and when we finish up our audit in November, those beginning balance numbers may change slightly. These are my best guesses for what we have today. But just over the next couple of months, those vary slightly. I just want to make you aware of that. But for receipts in our general fund, we took in $1,373,000. Expenditures of $505,000. Taking the ending balance to $2,727,000. Building fund, no balance to begin the year, but we took in our first state money, $528,424. That is the balance. Construction fund, ongoing projects during the summer, there were $208,000 of expenditures in July. And that is the balance. Food service fund, beginning balance of $595,000, receipts of $203,000, expenditures of $66,000, taking their ending balance to $732,000. And then for FILA, beginning balance of $74,000, receipts of $3,888, expenditures of just under $2,000, and their ending balance is almost $76,000.
Any comments?
When will we get the year-end close for last year?
So it is closed. We've submitted our unaudited financial report. But when we work with the auditors and do that November 15th will be our audited financial report, which is reported to Katie again at that time.
Okay. You can come to the unaudited.
So the munis from period 12 is pretty much it, unless you make some adjustments
So
somewhere, or
I try to handle period 12 as being what happens in June. So any receipts we get, expenditures, those sorts of things, I'll get. Period 13, I try to keep for indirect costs, interfund transfers, closing out, construction fund, building
Right,
fund, sweep.
right.
But there's a lot of money moving
moving
between
around,
funds.
right?
So that beginning balance for all of these will not match that period 12 because there are several things that are happening in period 13.
Okay, okay,
Are on behalf health insurance, TRS costs, those things
right.
are not really a period 12 cost. I put them in period 13 because they're more of a entire year.
Mhm.
So if there is a discrepancy, it's one of those things most likely.
Okay, at some point, soon, if you could kind of walk us through some of that, and why those, ending numbers look like they do, or what, if there, are necessary adjustments that, or if it's something we need to, take a harder look at, or as far as budgeting. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rupert. Okay, the next item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. And next is our Second Street School update with Ms. Goodrich.
I just want to highlight a few things at Second Street because we feel like we are making a lot of progress and improvement. So we did a lot of professional learning. I was actually very impressed of the amount of professional learning that teachers did outside of their contracted time as well. But we had teachers all over the state of Kentucky doing different initiatives, reading initiatives, social studies initiatives. And then, of course, Miss Peach, she kind of filled in a gap for me with our transition between principals and really making sure that all of the things that needed to occur this summer really occurred and made sure that it was a high level of engagement. We had a lot of teachers come out for professional development during their flex days, even if they'd already gotten their 24, mandated hours that they had to do. So I was really impressed with that. So we began this year with a lot of professional learning. And then we spent a lot of time with building our culture here at Second Street. Really, there were some surveys that the PCSA and Site-Based gave me. And one of those things was really working with team building, really making sure that we were moving as one unit forward as a staff. So we did something this summer called a grill and chill, where we invited all of our staff members. It was an amazing turnout. Like almost every single staff member was there. Joe and Joe was there, so I appreciated them coming. It was just really nice to, and some of this was officially my first time meeting most of the staff. So that was really interesting. They brought their kids. It was a family event. And we grilled and we just had a moment of just learning each other, talking about the year, just kind of conversating. So that's something that we definitely want to continue to do because it really helped us moving forward. And just kind of brought our teams together, if that makes sense.
You care to talk about on this piece, your one pack huddle at the end of the day?
Yeah, so every day we end our day with something called the one pack huddle. So a lot of us and our staff is wearing these bracelets that say one pack, and they're blue and orange. And every single day we end our day with a one pack huddle. So basically the walkers go out, the car riders go out, the buses go out, and then all of the staff gather in our main lobby and we do just a quick 5-minute meeting. What went well today? What can we do better? Is there any announcements for the whole group? I have noticed that we're lingering, which is a great thing for a principal. Once your staff is lingering after those meetings, it's not just a quick, we're going to speak and then we're going to go, but they're staying around, they're asking questions, they're checking on their teammates. And that's really what it was about. And so we gave these, our admin team gave these bracelets to everybody just to kind of signify that we are one pack moving forward. And it definitely improved the culture, and I'm excited to see teachers lingering and asking questions and helping each other out and solving problems, and great conversations is happening. We do those every single day. Another part of ours was a scavenger hunt across Frankfurt. That is what we took about 2 hours one day, and I gave them a list of things they had to do. One was like a community service or go into a local business. Different things that they had to do. And the amount of people who came back with that and just was like, it was really nice to get with my team because we broke out in different teams. It was nice for me because I was with not only some of the administrators, but I tagged along with the behavior team. I'm like, if I'm going to be spending some time with them, I want to get to know them better, right? So, but we had a really good time of just getting to know each other. And then when we came back, we discussed our behavior expectations and kind of rolled out some new things for our school year. So we have our CUB expectations, and we created these for the classroom, the playground, the hallway, the cafeteria. And then we decided that it was really important to include all of our extension classes as well, so that we were all on the same page. And if you have a student or know a student that's here at Second Street, hopefully they can tell you something about our expectations, because we've pretty much drilled that in every area possible I was really big on, it's really hard to expect students to do something if they don't know the expectation. So for instance, the first week of school, I had a question about so-and-so's playing in the restroom, what do I need to do? I said, well, has the expectation been taught, the restroom expectation? They're like, oh, I don't know that we did that as a group. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go back. Let's make sure we're teaching that expectation. Because if kids don't know the expectation of what the restroom is, it's hard to hold them accountable in that. So we've really kind of made this our North Star and focus on every single area within the building. When I hear back from parents, just here recently, those are the things that they're telling me, is that their students are telling them about the expectation and how they have different expectations in different areas. This was our very first day of kindergarten. I can say I love the calendar that you all have put out, having kindergarten first. That first day was phenomenal. We were able to really come together as a staff and focus on our littlest cubs that were in our school. This is the picture here. You can see the bus that's in the middle. We had our transportation department, Mr. TJ. They came out, they allowed all of our kindergartners, I read a book to all of them about bus safety and how we have those bus expectations. I went over the bus expectations. I read about having good manners on a bus and how you should act. And then after I read the book out loud, they individually took the classrooms. So I went from class to class to class. And each class got time to go on a bus and see how that looks and see how you sit. How are we going to do those bus expectations? Even if they're not bus riders, hopefully we have some field trips that they're going to have to ride that bus on. So we want to make sure that every student knew that. It also gave us some time to be with them at lunch and have extra hands for ketchup packets and barbecue sauce and all those different things as well. You can see Mr. Meeks in there. He's working with a little group of 4. It was really nice. We were able to target our kindergarten, give them what they needed. And then our staff actually followed a pretty strict schedule. We had our first PLCs that day where we were able to kick off grade book expectations and some different expectations for individual teams and grade levels. So it was a lot of work that day, but it really made it really nice that in our building was only our kindergartners. And then when they came back that second day, it wasn't lost. They knew where their classroom was. They knew the expectation of where to put their backpack. And they were already little leaders in our building. So we love that kindergarten came first.
Did you feel like it was helpful for parents?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was a lot more helpful for parents because we were able to give them that moment at the door. And a lot of times when you have every kid in the building, because that second day when we were with our first grade, second grade, and all the others, it's a little chaotic. I mean, there's a lot of kids going. So we were able to give the parents that moment. They were able to take pictures and we wasn't so rushed just to get them all in the building and get them fed. They actually had a separate time for their breakfast. So they kind of went up together and sat together for a few days actually before before we transitioned for them going on their own. So yeah, definitely helped with parents for sure. And then the next couple slides is just what you've seen us here. We want to make sure that you all are aware that our preschool had 4 stars. That was a tremendous amount of work. And I think there was a huge sigh of relief when we got those 4 stars back. But we want to make sure that you're aware that they did such a great job on that. Our caught reading, that is something that we're doing. You can see kind of there's some staff in the middle, but one of our challenges on that staff day was to get a picture of your team reading a book. Because we really want to increase our reading culture at Second Street. So we have our caught reading initiative. We also have something called Bean Stack coming. We're targeting right now 3rd and 4th graders, but it will be K through 8 eventually this school year, where we're tracking how many minutes they read through the library. It's for me, it's kind of like AR, the old AR accelerated reader, where you're getting those points and you're collecting how many books that you read, but with 3 minutes. And then we also have a weekly challenge of the homeroom that reads the most books. And then fingers crossed, we are working with our PTSA for a book vending machine to kind of increase those incentives. And then instead of, just physical things that students can get, we can actually give them a book for a reward. So those are just some of the things that we're doing to really create that reading culture here at Second Street. And then I mentioned Erin, she really goes above and beyond. She has worked really hard to ensure that our professional learning is relevant, it's meaningful, and it's really directly connected to what teachers need. So I just wanted to give her a shout out on this slide, just to say, I was extremely thankful to have somebody come in and, as me transitioning in as principal, for somebody to be able to kind of make sure there was no gap with learning. Like, we went right in, she had a plan, we were able to sit down. I attended some of the training so that I could learn it as well, so that when I'm in teachers' classrooms, I can help, I can observe, I can give them actual feedback that matters. So that was really important for me, and she's continuing to do that. Like, we have trainings tomorrow, so she's consistently making sure that we have what we need as an instructional coach. Good things ahead. So we have morning arrival. The Kentucky School Center of Safety is coming out on Wednesday of this week, and I'm working with them on looking at our morning arrival. He's going to come back, I think, in a couple weeks to look at our afternoon dismissal process, just to see, is there anything that we could do better? Or are there any systems that we can make sure that make the process go smoother? But I just want another set of eyes on that. It's really important for me to make sure that we maintain safety in the morning, and making sure that we're getting students, we don't want students waiting in the car rider line for 20 minutes. Like, they're here, but then they're getting counted tardy because they're in the car rider line. So we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that process is really smooth and we can get students in the building, and with breakfast. So we want to make sure that they're eating breakfast as well. We also are working on some of our behavior systems, creating matrices with our site base. So that's something that's new. We are getting ready to look at scheduling, actually some of the scheduling possibly for next year. We've done, redid a little bit of the scheduling for special education to make sure that all students were getting every single thing that they needed. So we're excited about that work. We created a records room. That's important for us. That was important for me when I came in, so that we could do some audits on our special education, on our 504s, just different student records. So we want to make sure that that's happening. And of course, we are working on our SBDM policies, to really look at our bylaws and our policies and make sure that they are truly what we're doing and they support the needs of our students. Any questions? All right.
Sounds
Here all week
great.
if you need me.
Thank you. Okay, we move to new business, and the next item is discussion of the energy and sustainability project, the agreement that we have before us tonight.
Ready.
Well,
Well, do you want to go through the agreement?
This is Greg Champ Diesel. I'm Jimmy Arnold, by the way. I think we've been in the time. Greg Champ, he works with me, and he's one of our project developers. We've done some initial walkthroughs. We've had outside engineering consultant come in, so give us his ideas before we just fall down the road. So Greg, my mission was
Project development agreement for us is, we come in and look at the mechanical room, the holistic systems in the building, those sorts of things, to analyze it. It's a way for us to develop a project that helps solve some of your problems without you having to pay upfront costs. So the difference is you can hire an MVP, pay them day one, and pay them to design something. In the end, they're gonna hand you set prints, and then bid them out to which one with them. Project development agreements designed more around, we can come in and start working on designing some problems. You sign a commitment on the project development agreement, but the way it works, we come back later with a project that meets the upfront criteria that we set. You want us to solve problem A, B, C. We bring back project that's A, B, C within financial constraints that you agree to. Then if you agree to move forward with the project, we just roll those costs into the project. And it's a way for us to honestly come at it in a little more economical approach than just, okay, we're gonna hire an engineer, what do you want us to do? Well, this looks like a $4 million engineering, project, or $5 million project, fees flat 7%, here you go. You're gonna pay for it if you don't have any input to it. With us, if we say, we're gonna develop a project, here's the cost that will get rolled into the project, we come back with a project that doesn't fit your constraints, or, doesn't hit the target. Obviously, we want to get reimbursed for our time. Our goal, our delivery is to take our time, develop something that's gonna be meaningful for you. This particular agreement, so a lot of things have been addressed over the years, I'm not so sure holistically. So the plant that's there today, even though it's got some new equipment, it's had some modifications made, there's still a lot of challenges to it. It's very complicated, even though your building, your building does heating or cooling only, that it's what they call a two-pipe system, so you're either sending hot water or chilled water to the building. The plant in itself's just really not laid out that great. Even the boilers, particularly in the plant, the old boiler was replaced, but the whole piping wasn't addressed holistically, so you can really open one room, run one boiler at a time. Just several little nuances, there's pipes in there that should have probably been removed years ago, and so the valve gets open, school doesn't heat or cool. We also want to take another look at just kind of the pumping for the school. Obviously, you can't holistically change how much water you're putting out in the school because the piping that's in the school today is a certain size. You're limited to whatever those sizes are. But we want to make sure that the pumps size to address basically the system losses that are in the building today. The ventilation system that's in here today dumps the room we're sitting in today, it dumps directly into this room. It does not dump into the HVAC units in this room. Ventilation system that's there is a technology that doesn't really have any mechanical heating or cooling. It's just an energy wheel. So you're dumping room into outside air into these rooms is not ideal. So it contributes to the load that's on the smaller units in all of these rooms. A particular set of areas of the school, and there's other issues like that. And then one of the other things we discussed was you have piping where you actually load and unload children outside of the breezeway. And so there's hot water piping that's up in that area with hot water system to prevent, or if it's in there to prevent freezing, we're asked to take another look at that particular system and make sure that it can operate functionally. And if we have any recommendations for changes to that system, I know you had a few freeze ups, I think particularly on this end of the building, but so holistically, that's kind of the scope. The ventilation systems, the plant, basically the hot water system for freeze protection out here that we want to look at, and then PDA is just a mechanism for us to be able to start working on all of that without you really having to commit day one to sign an engineering agreement with the MVP firm. The firm that we brought in here to look at it is in 3D out of Lexington. We've done countless projects across the state, including several K-12 projects with John Newman in 3D. John Newman is school in 3D. We like to partner with him because we have a good collaborative relationship, and generally we can get things done more economically. So we brought Bill out and had him take a look at the building, the systems, and then also the drawings, and kind of had a collaborative discussion of here's what we think we could do to address your needs.
What issues come up was, first of all, is the makeup air system. When we got involved with this, to Greg's point, it's dumping raw air. That's a real huge issue for us. Right now, we're not bringing that air in because it's so raw, and we couldn't keep up. It's like last weekend with 100 degrees. Made no sense to bring in 100-degree air in space. So, with that being said, you need to think of your building right now like a balloon. It's not being blown up all the way. We do not have positive pressure in this building because of that. We have negative pressure. So that's allowing some of that humidity to come into the space a little bit. So we need to address that too. And we had the same thing happen in my district. We brought in positive air, and sort of like when you open the door of the stadium, you feel that whistling sound. Well, that's sort of, we're not asking, we don't want that much pressure, but we do want some pressure. That way we're maintaining our building envelope on the outside air. It's very important. That's something we learned during COVID. COVID taught us a lot. One thing it taught us was the importance of proper ventilation. That's what we're seeking, is proper ventilation. Now, the other piece of the puzzle was building pressure in your piping system. Now, I think it was 3 Saturdays ago, maybe 4, I don't know which. I was watching your building really, really close. And I was trying to increase the pressure of the building. Okay, so when doing that, what I was doing is I thought, I'm gonna take an area offline. So I constricted the amount of usage for your piping system. I was closing off some things. Pressure should have went up. Went opposite, it went down. And to Greg's point, the mechanical room system, I've had people down there that I consider experts, and it's taken us too long to figure out how the system works. Things were done with great intentions, but we need to streamline it. And that's where if I'd had a cutting torch 3 weeks ago, I'd cut the thing out that day. I was so frustrated, but we got it out for the time being to increase pressure. I'm gonna show you guys, we'll do a walkthrough. I'm gonna show you where the pressure's at, where it needs to be, and what we think the solution is. We feel like it's a pumping issue. I talked to Rich Cofield, gentleman that used to call on you guys quite a bit, and I'm describing to him, we have a pump right now that's taking care of your chilled water, that's also trying to create enough pressure for your building. I don't know the end solution, but I would not be surprised if we don't end up with a pump that just does the building. We'll have a pump over here, moving my chilled water, then incorporate it into the building pump to get it out to our classrooms. Right now, we have some rooms that are starving for pressure, and that's why we're having what we're having. But we're getting there. We come in here what, last year in those 5 rooms, they were so hot. And, we did everything on our powers, trying to do low cost. We didn't want to say we need to replace them. We cleaned coils, we increased fan speeds, we extended schedules, and we could not get those rooms cool. So we did a low calc on it, determined that the units need to be upsized just some. We've done that. Room 226 this morning was 65 degrees. Now that's probably colder than it needs to be, but right now I'm just seeing how far I can push this thing. It takes me a little while to get a system dialed in, and that's what I'm doing. I'm coming out of this hot weather. I'm pushing the system pretty hard, and pretty soon we're going to be able to start backing up, because I have a feeling that those rooms that we replace those units, I'm gonna overcool them if I'm not careful. So that's what we're doing. And we're doing all this. We're not doing a Band-Aid thing here. We're doing a 20-year plan on that mechanical. I want to hit the checkbox, make that thing where it needs to be, and move forward. But we'll go through all that here in a little bit, if you guys want to. Be fun. Go on the roof, be awesome. Any questions?
Yes, I think some of us do have questions.
Sure.
With respect to the scope, if you had to guess, how much of this is related to function and how much is efficiency? I mean, is
I
there,
don't know if you can really cut a difference in that, because, if the thing is functioning correctly, then I can be more efficient. That's where, right now, we're not being efficient because we're having to overtry right now to make this thing come. So once we get to that point, just like the pressure I'm talking about, I'm gonna get way more than you guys probably ever hear about HVAC, but that's okay. It's just like the pressure we're talking about. You have pressure in your piping system. Well, that's determined by how much usage that your system out here need. So if everything is running, everything is hot and everything's trying to cool down, everything's gonna be 100%. Valves are open, bypasses are open, everything's running. So at that point right there, my pressure is going to drop in my loop. But what that will require is the VFD, which is the variable frequency drive on the pumps, will cause that pump speed go up and max out. On the other side of it is on your efficiency piece. As we get to set points, we start dropping low. What will happen is my pressure will go up. So then my VFD can cycle down because it won't need as much pressure. And that's where we get our efficiencies. That's how, and then another piece of the puzzle, this is sort of what I did back in the day. Let's say a wing, let's call the library. Let's say libraries are toughest run to cool. How I build a schedule is this. I will attack my most difficult space to cool first. I will bring it online. And the reason I bring it online first is because it's gonna take the longest. But what I try to do is, by doing so, I also bring my chiller online. I get my loop healthy at 42 to 44 degrees, and then I start bringing in other systems. And that's how we gain efficiencies. Been doing it for years, long time. We were able to make our chiller boiler buildings more efficient than our chill buildings by doing this type of staging. Training engineers thought I was cheating. I was just beating the system.
I asked that because, uh, you know, efficiency is great, and I understand that it all correlates, but, I think with what board members are hearing, we're concerned with functionality.
Comfort's what I'm concerned about is if I can get comfort, comfort's the most important thing. We get the comfort and then we're good. Now, the functionality piece is that's sort of related to this whole pressure issue. What we're dealing with is we've got units that are starving because we don't have enough pressure to get the volume to them. That's our challenge. That's what we're running into. First floor, I'm pumping out cold air. Those rooms 200s that we just changed, I'm pumping out cold air. But I've got some units that are starving because I don't have enough pressure. I checked the pressure a while ago and you have pressure of 15 PSI. Your pressure is supposed to be a minimum of 30. So I'm at half, I'm starving. But here's the other problem. 15 is the best I've seen in 2 weeks. The other day I looked at it, it was 7. Now that's the day I got my car and drove up here because I was scared. I thought I had a valve closed and I didn't have a valve closed. And that's when I really got scared was because my pumps are at 100%. I'm starving at 7%. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we have a pressure problem and it's starving our units.
Efficiency in a normal school, I've worked on schools last 15 years. It's normally driven by scheduling, set points, and only ventilate when you need to. So I've been involved in a lot of different projects, but we don't typically ventilate June, July when there's nobody in the building. We try to make sure we're not ventilating when students leave, so you're not wasting money. We try to make sure your set points, typically aren't in an extreme heat or extreme cooling.
We've done a lot of that work through the years
Yeah.
with, energy performance contracts with Train. So my next question is just out of curiosity, with the roof unit you're talking about, what ballpark figure that, would have the capacity for this building? Are we talking about a $1 million unit, a $200,000 unit, or what?
I did 3 similar units at a school and it was, and prices changed. It's been about
Right,
5 years
right.
ago. It was a couple, $300,000. So it wasn't crazy. Well, it's not a crazy number. The biggest thing we're gonna run into here is a crane. Crane's gonna be the deal, or a helicopter. That's what we're running into. But here's the point of the whole conversation. Whatever the cost is, it's the right solution because we have got to enter tempered air here. And that's going to help our comfort as well, because we're going to start bringing in so many hundreds of CFM of pre-cooled air. So that's going to help us as well on our comfort side. And that's what we've been sort of missing. This conversation didn't just start today. We've been working on this conversation for a lot of this stuff for like 5 or 6 years. And we just couldn't get, anything to move forward. And, this year you come on board and we started, I think we've done a heck of a job at the hospital. We first looked at the hospital. I mean, it had more issues than this building. Well, now we've got the hospital down. Well, this thing's on our radar. We're going to attack it. We're going to make it better. So go.
And I think there's we've looked at all the current contracts that we have with Train, and I think from my perspective, I'm not sure who does what, who's responsible for what, on a daily basis. Is it our maintenance? Is it Train? Is it?
Well, there's different, different pieces to the puzzle. For instance, as intelligence services, for instance, I was the second district in the state of Kentucky that did intelligence services. But we were efficient Well, it took us up to another level. But what we do there is we do quarterly meetings with Bobby and Sherry and Jason and our engineers and myself and others. And we just talk about y'all's district, what we can do. And in so doing, you know, we look at set points, we look at performance. We look at things that are meeting, you know, those set points in comfort. And then we will bring up things that are on our radar that are starting to, you know, rear its head a little bit. We've done that. That's the things that we've been doing for years here. And like I said, you know, we brought some things up and kept bringing them up. And to be quite honest with you, Ms. Greathouse, we quit bringing them up because felt like we were just, you know, I felt like we were boring people because it just seemed like they weren't interested in, and that's, you know, they're a free will agent, they can do what they want to. But then Sherry got here and, it got a little different real fast. So that's where we're at, but that's what the intelligence services piece does. Then you guys have a contract for your children at this building alone, and we do regular PMs on it. Now, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen on that PM, it's gonna have to be changed just a tick. We did a coil cleaning on it in February. Fine, no problem, cleaned it, made it shiny, all good. Christina was here the other day and I said, and I was, you know, I was concerned about it a little bit. I was worried about my transference. And I said, go over and take a picture of it and send it to me. And she sent it to me, and at that time, I didn't know it had been cleaned in February. And I said, when was this thing cleaned last? She said, February. I said, oh my goodness. Well, what's going on is we've got all this cottonwood and these tulip poplar trees and those blooms. And then there's some other things going on in the community with air quality. I'm gonna leave it right there because I don't want to get in trouble. But it's causing us to probably have to start cleaning it twice a year. That's the kind of stuff we're seeing. And that's what we do. Process, let's talk about process. We realize there's been some gaps. I had a meeting last week before even this board meeting was called, where I was invited. We had a meeting and we realized there's some gaps. And the biggest gap for me is, communication. You guys are mine. I own you. I feel like, you know, you're mine and I own this thing and I'm gonna take care of it because I feel like it's mine now. I really do. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I treat it. But what I've been concerned about is gaps. When a technician comes, does some work, I'm not getting the information. So we had a meeting in the service manager that covers this area. And I said, Rich, I think it's time for me just to get all the reports. I will be the conduit. Whether it's a technician coming, whether it's someone putting in a help desk ticket or whatever, I'm gonna be the conduit until we have this thing, till I'm comfortable. Because I wanna know what's going on. I wanna know when the technician comes and does X, Y, Z. I wanna know when there's an email sent or whatever. That's what we're gonna do. So that's the gap I think that needs to be addressed. And I think it was just as much us. I know we need to do better on our side. And then you guys can tell me how you want me to share that information with the organization. And I'll be glad to do it.
Yeah.
That's what but here's the point here's the main point to me was, we had Christina come out the other day and that was fine. But when there's a regular PM done or any type of service done, I want that coming to me. It's going to come to me from now on. And then I'll send it to your team, whoever you guys want it to be, and that's how we're gonna roll. We're gonna do this for a while, because, and then when I get done with here, I got another district that needs a little tuning, and we're gonna tune that one. We're gonna make this right.
Is there a
Rick
specific,
Cofield, excuse me,
I was just gonna say, is there a specific response time based on how critical the issue is?
critical to deal. This building right here, if Sherry was to call me in the morning and say the chiller's down, that gets to the very top of the food chain immediately. Because what happens is, that means this whole building is down. We can't have that. That's a non-starter. Now, if we got a filter needs to be changed, That's gonna go down a little further, Phil. Now, if we got a water leak, that's another issue. But anything that is system, that's a system, chiller, pumps, something like that, that goes to the top of the food chain. A condensate overflow, we got a drip. What I do on that is, if you call me and say, hey, this thing's tripped on condensate overflow. First thing I do is I go in there and do a reset on it. If it trips immediately, I know then I've got to get back with the district, say, do you want to look at that or do you want me to look at it? And we'll go from there.
So are
That's
those,
how it works.
Sherry, so are those things, who does that, like, the things that he's talking about? Are those things that the staff here? Like if
No,
they
they
see,
would-
or the technicians?
Chiller is our technicians. all day.
Okay.
That's us all day long.
Mhm.
That's big time.
Basically, from the school level, all we're getting are maintenance tickets from teachers. My room is not cooling, my air conditioning units, but like bigger issues like that. The hosted ensemble gives alarms and like 9 times out of 10, you see it before anybody else does.
And then
Yeah.
here's the thing. You guys, the first one I look at in the morning, last one I look at when I go to bed, and I check you out on Saturday and I check you out on Sunday. That's how you're being monitored right now. But, all that to say this is who gets what? It depends on capacity, right now, whereas the chiller, hey, that's us. Condensate overflow, whoever sent me the email or the text or whatever, that's who I'm gonna reply back to. That's sort of how it goes, that line of communication. That's how we execute. Bobby, he'll call, service scheduling and go direct to them sometimes. But in the future, when Bobby does call service scheduling and they dispatch, I'm copied on it. Now, I wasn't always copied on it. That's not happening. We're gonna, and you're my baby, we're gonna rock it. That's how I'm gonna treat you. And I don't care a bit. Sherry, during this hot spell, constant text, call. She was, I'm sorry, call. That's what I'm here for. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, I could pull over my car, do a hot spot and fix it right there on the road. Fix a lot of stuff remotely. My goal was to fix 65% of it remotely. That way you don't have to call a truck. And I'm not sending you a bill. It's just me.
I'll be honest, when it's something I know about, and Catherine and I have a really good system because I don't get all the maintenance tickets, but she does. First thing in the morning, she's given me this room, if there's multiple rooms, and lately there haven't been any. And my first thing to do is call Jimmy or send him a text and say, hey, can you check these rooms for me? And honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's something you can fix on your end without rolling a truck and having a cost
The
associated.
only issue I've got is I'm on central time and y'all on Eastern. That's.
I try to wait.
That's not a problem. My boss doesn't realize it either, but it's not a big deal. It's really, my goal, I did this for a long, long time. And when cold weather hits, I'll do the same thing because I'm more concerned about cold weather and hot weather. Cold weather, we can lose a building, something freezes up. Hot weather, yeah, we're sweating. It's a bad day. I get it. I've been there. I don't want you sweating. I want you comfortable. But cold weather scares me more than anything.
So as far as maintenance tickets, is there a backlog on maintenance tickets? And then more specifically, is there a backlog on maintenance HVAC?
Mhm.
There's a
Yes.
backlog.
A backlog, you mean like, are they built up and we're not addressing them? Is that what you mean by that?
Yes.
No, I mean, right now we're good. We had 1 ticket this morning today, Miss Pearl. Is that right?
HVAC.
HVAC. And the room was too cold.
Which room? But you know what? That was that room that we went in there, it's blazing hot.
Hmm.
And I thought, hey, I'm gonna make it cold, no matter what.
That was also the one that one of the units was running last week, but the other one wasn't, and it wasn't a unit issue. It was the drain
Yeah, we
with
had
the
a-
water was clogged and Les came and
Here's my
cleaned the
theory.
drain and now it's 63 degrees.
The other unit that we had before, I don't think it was getting enough. I don't think the coil was getting cold enough for having condensation, so the drain never had any work or load on it. Well, we're putting load on it now. I mean, we're running water out of that thing. So I think we overwhelmed the the floor drain, and Plus come in last week and they took care of that. But this morning, it was running and the other unit was off because it was satisfied. It was beyond satisfied. What was going on is, I went in there and made a continuous fan because I want that thing to get cold. So I've changed the fans back to cycling, so as it gets satisfied, it won't go off and on. So there will be times you won't see those units running because they're satisfied.
Okay, so that type of drain flushing, that's a contact train issue. That's not something we can.
This time, actually, it was a contact, since it was under my project, it was my, even though it wasn't in my scope, in my official responsibility, we called the mechanical anyway, and told them to come fix it. And they were good with doing it. I mean, that's how we do on it. And, but I will tell you this, moving forward, drain cleaning is gonna be in my scope. Because that stupid drain caused us all kinds of aggravations, and we're not gonna have that in. We're gonna put that in scope, flush every drain.
What about the drain pan issue?
The drain pan issue was a different issue. What happened there was, the unit was out of level. So we had Lust come back and they put the unit level. It was tipped the wrong way, so they put it level, now it's draining correctly. That's what we're running into there.
Why did that issue go on for so long?
That was the two drain pans. Oh, that was.
That's what I'm asking about.
That was the two drain pans. What happened there was we ordered it. When we found out, we had to order the units and then we had a delay in getting parts.
I think the question is more, how long did we know the drain pans needed to be replaced
All
before?
that, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I just.
I don't know.
That it resulted in, ceiling
Oh, yeah.
tile damage,
Absolutely. I mean, you wanna get me sideways, just show me the ceiling tiles got spots on it. That's the thing. And, what happens is. after
We've
it
got
gets
lots in
wet,
this
we go in
building.
there and replace it. That thing's going to disintegrate your hands because it's gotten so wet. So that's an issue.
My issue was it was in the cafeteria
Yeah,
where kids eat.
absolutely. Amen. I mean, I'm there. Our technician passed that along about, the tiles. And then after that, I don't know what comes there. Yeah. Yeah, that caused a serious meeting with us. When I got the call that our technician had left the tile, well, that got ramped up to levels that I hadn't seen in a while. We had a serious conversation, called the technician, did a conference call, found out what's going on. His boss, which is Rich, will be at the next meeting if you want him. He got intense quick because leaving ceiling tiles out is a big no-no for us. And then I asked Kyle, I said, what did you do before you left? He said, I contacted someone and told them I had a ceiling tile. There's what we did. So but in everyone's defense, we don't know if there's a ceiling tile available. Tiles are not standardized. It is, what we found out was our guy did leave notes. So that was a good thing. He let someone know. And that's what I was upset about. Did he not talk to anybody? Now, back to the communication thing. That's something that we're going to address internally a little bit. Our technicians, when they come to a building, they need to speak to someone. I'm here, I'm doing this. And when they leave, they need to say, hey, this is what I got done. This is what I couldn't get done. And that's where I'm gonna probably come into play on this is accountability, just a little bit. And ultimately, it's my fault. Ultimately, it calls on me. And I am not one.
Well, there has to be some accountability on us also. I mean,
You know what, here's where I'm at. You guys, I'm gonna take care of my side of the house and I am going to support you probably, over the top. That's what I
I
like.
think that's what we're trying to figure out is where is your side of the house and where is our side of
Well,
the
and
house?
here's why I think this is the gap, it's communication. And that's why I'm doing what I'm gonna do, because, as you can tell, I don't care to talk. I ain't scared to talk, love to talk. But I will talk and we'll make phone calls and I don't care to make phone calls. Sherry doesn't care to call, we're good.
Sorry.
What we are not gonna do though is, we're not gonna act like there isn't an issue. We're gonna, are we doing a terrible job? No. Are y'all doing a terrible job? No. But can we do a better job? Darn right. And, I have a simple standard, perfection. That's what I want. When I get to perfection, then we'll talk. But that's how I roll. Uh, Married a redhead 40 years ago, math teacher, and that's how she has instructed me to operate, and now I pass it on to everybody else. That's just how it works. These doggone math teachers.
I have another question. So what you have proposed tonight with this energy and a sustainability project,
Sure.
it's simply designing,
Yes. We
okay.
could-
And then, so just to follow up, so I wanted to be clear though, it sounded like you were saying this is the biggest issue, not been taken care of, or not, you've not been heard in this part, like getting this done.
Not this one particular, those
Okay.
others.
Okay,
This right here is recent, honestly.
Okay.
It's come on our radar in February,
okay,
in one of our quarterly meetings.
Alright.
So to your point, we had some stuff previous, the high school, for instance. We couldn't get any traction there.
all right.
Well, that's been addressed. Now what we're dealing with is what would come up, this is something we discovered in our February meeting.
Are there any other deferred repairs here at Second Street that you feel like would make efficiency and what you call you're using that term comfort
I-
better?
I am.
Deferred repairs, like,
I'm gonna be interested to see what comes of the rest of the second floor. Because what we dealt with in room 226 and others was, I'm not gonna call that deferred maintenance, but what I am gonna call that was maybe a design that needs to be enhanced a little bit, because you guys use your buildings differently now than you did 15, 20 years ago. You do. I feel like things are getting a little warmer. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but this feels like the weather's just a little bit more. And when we have a hot spell, it seems like it's intense. Well, buildings are designed based on a certain temperature, and Greg can tell us what design build looks, what they're designed around. And I feel like certain times of the year, the outside temps are overwhelming how design was done. And I feel like that's what we're coming back and taking a second look at. If you understand what I'm saying. So, for is deferred maintenance, the big thing that you look at is filter changes, things like that. As long as you're getting your filters changed regularly, that's huge. That coil cleaning, that chiller, we'll talk about, we're gonna go 2 a year, so we'll have to. That's the kind of stuff that, I'm not seeing anything egregious. And I can take you to egregious, east of here. Way east. Egregious. But I don't see anything egregious. I don't see you guys doing anything crazy, turning stuff off and just because it won't run. I don't see that one.
They're also working on, I say they, probably Allison more than anybody is working on updating. When we started the Frankfurt High project, Train gave us a list of every classroom with every unit and how old they were and what their life expectancy should have been. And if you remember, some of the life expectancy was 15 years and some of those units were 38 years old.
That's why we started the.
So Allison is working to get you all an updated list of that.
And Allison Nonos is my partner.
that'd be
She
good.
couldn't be here
Yeah.
tonight because she's under the weather.
That's
But
on
Allison
units.
is my partner.
Yes, like.
And Second Street's included in that.
So Allison is my partner on this account. And, when I'm out of pocket or on the road or whatever, I hand off to Allison. And Allison, I wouldn't trade $1 million for Allison. Allison cares. That's all I need. I need people to care. She cares. She wants it and she can help. And she is in the office where I might be on the road, so she can walk downstairs and say, hey, punch them in the side, say, hey, we need to get this moved, work it out. And that helps us too. I've got a good team behind me. Met with Rich the other day, as your area service manager. He is so passionate about this. He wanted to know if he could come tonight, and I said, well, it's short notice. Maybe the next meeting, bring Rich and hear him talk. And because he's passionate about it as well. He wants you guys to feel like that you are as important as you are to us. You are important to us. And, sort of personal. It really is.
Do we have a timeline on the list she's working on?
I'll email her.
Excuse
Do we
me?
have a timeline on the list that Allison is working on?
I don't know. I mean,
She was under the weather today, so she.
yeah, I'll reach out to her tomorrow. We'll try.
I will too.
It's happening. We'll get there.
And that's what, I don't know that everybody heard what you just said about that list. That list was what prompted us to do the Frankfurt High,
It did.
because some of those units were,
That, I had to, Sherry, I had to really brief, I said, I hear what you're saying. What's going on Second Street? And I thought, well, why did we do Frankfurt High first? Well, then I brought that sheet up. Well, the age of the equipment was dropping. Now it's doing pretty good for us. We just don't hear much about it.
And that list was developed initially during COVID, because I remember we all met at the high school with Dr. Barber and Train, because we were wearing masks and trying to determine which units we needed to really give some priority.
They're a different type of unit, so they are heat pump units, and there were like a list of 8 that were mechanically filled, that's why it was a problem.
Right.
You don't go look at camp room?
I gotta do my superintendent's report first.
I'm sorry, you know thing I said. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
are there any other questions from
Anything.
board members before we move on? We'll have some questions as we look, I think.
That's fine. We've got drawings, we'll go over everything, sure.
Okay, let's let Dr. Satterlee do her little
I'll go
thing
fast.
here and
Then I'll go fast.
we'll move.
So just a few highlights this week. If you didn't see on Facebook, now you get to see that. I had sent this opportunity to Miss Limley and Miss Wilman Dobner a while back. Because we are such a farm to school focused, district. And I was like, I think this would be really good to participate with. And of course they did what they do and they took it and they ran with it. And, took a team of 7th graders to the School Garden Squash Challenge Friday at the Kentucky State Fair. They had to get on a stage and cook and create a recipe in front of a crowd. And their recipe was a zucchini salsa verde recipe that is a Holly Hill recipe, but they modified it somewhat.
They did, I think they might have made it better.
And they got 2nd place. So a huge congratulations to them. Jack was supposed to be here for recognitions tonight, but he had a golf match. So I stuck him on here. We'll recognize him at a later date. But Jack Kennedy was our lone state qualifier for the All-A State Golf Tournament, which is coming up this week at Gibson Bay. So we'll wish him the best of luck in that. I think this might have been one of those really hot days. Mr. Kennedy and I, on Friday, August 14th, it was the first payday for staff, and we walked and we hand delivered a pay stub to every single employee. There were maybe 5 we couldn't find that day. And I think we both were covered in sweat from head to toe and probably racked up about 15,000 steps. But we hand delivered a paper pay stub, which they never get, but it just kind of was, it was a memento of sorts with a payday candy bar. So it was nice to see the smiles on their faces. Most people were really excited about the candy bar. So homecoming is coming up on September 11th, Friday, September 11th. And you can see the schedule of events there. It's also in the district newsletter. So our parade will be at 12:30 p.m. with a pep rally at Sourfield following the parade, and the game will kick off at 7:30 p.m. And then Saturday will be the actual homecoming dance at the FD Wilkinson gym. Tomorrow and Wednesday, the leadership in the district, instructional leadership, are attending a training provided by TNTP. If you haven't read The Opportunity Myth, I'm happy to send it to you. It's an amazing executive summary of what students can show us about what needs to be better about schools and how we can fix it. It focuses a lot on students and being met with grade level standards, or actually more often not being met with grade level standards. TNTP is partnering with us through our literacy grant, so they are coming to train our leaders tomorrow and Wednesday on the walkthrough tool that we are being asked to use through the grant. So we will focus on walkthrough effectiveness, high expectations for all students, and ensuring grade level content is available for all students. And then they will come back in September and actually do those walkthroughs with the Collaborative for Teaching and Learning and with our administrative staff. So the Collaborative for Teaching and Learning will be with us on September 2nd, and TNTP will be with us on September 17th and 18th to conduct literacy walkthroughs. Our Frankfurt High School students today they did voting for class officers. And this is the second year, I think, Mr. Rogers, that the Franklin County Clerk's Office have actually brought in the voting machines, and we've kind of had a mock election of sorts. So they got to see what it was actually like to vote like at the polls, but not really. This week, we do host the All-A Region Soccer Tournament, as well as our first Frankfurt High football game this Friday. So All-A Region, our girls play Sayer tonight, our boys play Sayer tomorrow, and depending on those two games, the championship game is on Wednesday. And Frankfurt High School football plays Moore High School this Friday. I don't know if anybody else in the room got to Paris Friday night, but I did, and it was just a joy to see some points on the board, even though we ended up with a loss. Just to see the athleticism and the teamwork and the coaching and the positivity on the field. Planning has already begun for our Fall Excel and Pep Weeks, including childcare provided by the YMCA. I'm waiting currently on the registration link for the childcare, but those signups will be going out soon. And we will have one student from Frankfurt High who will be attending the fire science program at the Career Tech Center in Franklin County. And we are waiting to hear on the laser program through the Chamber of Commerce. I know we had one applicant and potentially two others. So lots of good things going on and lots of good partnerships.
That it?
Ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, we will recess for this little walkthrough for anybody that wants to join us.
Are you gonna come back on?
No.
I'm going.